Hi guys, for the moment I want to share with you my fabric junk journal that I'm working on, or I don't really know what you would call it, just a fabric book I guess, but it's going to have some vintage ephemera. And what I'm going to share with you is the way that I've been trying to get my pictures across on just using a plain old inkjet printer. Now, the fabric has been hand sewn. It was a large piece of fabric which I just folded in half. I put some wadding inside and I've started to add lots of laces and trim. And inside we've got some onion skinned dyed cotton doilies here. We've got lace. I've put in a measuring fabric measuring tape here just because I love the fact that it's got made in England, and you can see it's still got sections that need to be sewn down. I've got a little piece of envelope and ephemera here, and I've just got this little Tim Holtz clip. But the thing is, I've done these images, and what I printed them on some really grungy fabric. And if I turn this one over like so, you can see this was the back of the fabric. It was cotton. It's been eco-stained with all types of onion skins, a bit of rust dyeing, a bit of coffee staining, tea bags, pretty much everything went into it. And then I put it through my printer. The printer the images themselves won't allow me to physically wash them, but this book isn't about having it washed at the end of the day. It's about building up lots and lots of layers and then just sewing and bringing in buttons. So from that perspective, let's see if we can crack on. I believe this was done and shared by Christine's Attic, if I remember correctly, and I gave it a try for myself and have found it to be successful. But since then I've changed my printer, and so I've just got some images here. I've already got some old photographs sitting under the printer, and I've literally refreshed my memory as to which way we need to apply the fabric to the paper, so when we put it through I am actually going to get print on the right side. So here's my piece of fabric. I've literally ironed it. I have a glue stick to hand, and what I am going to do is see which side I would like my images to be printed on. I kind of like the fact this has already got colour sitting on it, so I'd like this side I'm going to glue on. I've got one sheet of A4 paper. Now you can use a variation on adhesives to stick your glue to the paper, but I think just sticking to a household glue stick will do the trick well enough. I mean, it's got to be, the whole point is you do run the risk of damaging your printer. There's no two ways about it. It's your choice. I have a relatively new printer, but it is inexpensive to replace. So as I said, I haven't given this particular printer a go, but I mean, well, I'm gonna find out, and you might as well see the end results and how I go about it. So as you can see, the paper has got glue on it. It's just a matter now of sticking this down onto the fabric and making it as flat as I possibly can. It's a little disappointing that the paper does warp a little bit with the damp glue. You can use a form of spray glue if you like, and one of the biggest things we've got to try and do is, using a set of dressmaker's scissors, is cut as neatly as we possibly can down the side of our A4 paper. We want it to be literally the size that the printer can cope with. So all in all, as you can see, it's a bit of a labour of love actually when you start sewing a fabric journal by hand. I know I could go ahead and yet again I could glue my items in to my book, but actually it's really quite nice to sit down in the evenings and just get out a needle and thread and just while away the hours really, as watching films or movies or even documentaries, which are more my thing on TV. Not that I have a lot of time to spend in front of the television, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Over the last couple of months I've taken to, if you follow me on Facebook, I actually have found the joy of taking a camera outside and basically seeing if I can photograph the wildlife, which happens to be currently one of my favourite things or occupations to do. Gets me outside, gets me in the fresh air. Admittedly, now that the winter months are beginning to draw in, I'm sure that I will spend more time, no matter how well I protect my camera in the wet weather. It isn't robust enough for the British wet weather that will inevitably hit us and hit us quite soon, I'm sure. September will probably be the last of our nice warmth that we're going to get, but come October I'm sure it will become quite wet. Now anyway, rather than me dwell on the weather, I'm coming to the end of cutting around this particular piece of paper and the fabric, and my next port of call is just literally to possibly just apply on quickly on some of these looser corners a tad of glue. Now I actually found that I had some pictures done like this for over a year which still had the backing paper on. I was able to quite easily pull the backing paper off prior to actually stitching in my book, as long as you don't use something that's so adhesive, so solvent based maybe. I mean, the luxury of these glue sticks are they're water soluble. Admittedly, you don't want to be putting your prints in the water, but it does mean it is going to be able to be pulled off. Right, moment of truth. So I am now going to grab my printer, just move this across for the moment so you can see what I've got going on there. Put you there and I will print in my printer. Well, she's feeding in. That's the most important thing. And I think we have some results. And I can see what's going on, but you can't, admittedly. But there you go. Here is the end result of putting that fabric on and through the printer. So I've got this chap here in his fireman's outfit. I've got this wonderful young lady here. I've got this old vintage, just look at this, her clothing there with a little hand muff. And then I've just printed this particular postcard. So there you go guys, that's pretty much what I'm doing, and I'm sure now I'll add these images to my fabric book and share with you a few more pages as I progress. Catch up with you later. Bye bye.